All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the first episode of Sentenced to Greatness podcast, brought to you by Conaway Labs, with your hosts Isaac and Marsell. What's going on, dude?
Not much, man. Not much. Just wife just got home. Thank God, because dog's shitting everywhere, and just cooking food for the kids and the wife. So.
That is a typical Monday afternoon in the iconic household. Dog shitting and cooking food.
He's driving me crazy. He shit twice. He shit, and mind you, not twice like within the day. He shit twice within like a minute. He shit on one side of the kitchen, and he shit all the way down the other hallway.
Yep.
So here I am. I see a pile of shit, and I walk out. I can smell it. I'm like, fuck, man, what the fuck? I look. Sure enough, it's a pile of shit right there. So I start cleaning up the shit, and I hear CJ coming around the corner, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, I just cleaned up the poop." I said, "No, you didn't. The poop's right there." He's like, "Oh, there's another poop over there." I'm like, "Oh my
God." Oh God. There we go. If you guys didn't know, Isaac just got a new dog. He's got a puppy. I don't know if I would call it a dog or a mini horse. One of the two. What kind of breed is he?
He's a Dogo Argentino.
Dogo Argentino. Anyway, it's pretty much a fancy word for a big ass white dog. You definitely don't want to get on his bad side. But anywho, all right, so let's jump into the podcast. Let's kind of let everybody know what our vision for the podcast is, what we're going to be doing on the podcast, what we're going to be talking about in the podcast. So let's just jump off with that. So what's your vision for the podcast?
Man, my vision, like, when you brought this to this idea to light, my vision was this fucking dog next door barking. Sorry.
That's the next door dog?
Next door dog. You can hear him? See? It's the one I always talk about, man.
Oh, God.
You're lucky I love dogs, man, because I didn't get to talk about it over. Okay. Anyways, so, like, the vision I had was just bringing obviously more brand awareness to the company, because we are an up-and-coming company. We're not a huge company yet, right? And kind of bring some light to some of the athletes, and get these guys on there, tell their story, get the owner on there, Michael, have him tell his story, and just, I don't know, just have fun with it. It's not, obviously there's a bunch of podcasts out right now, and everybody's doing podcasts, it seems like, right? Because it's a cool thing to do, but it's just something for you and I to like, I don't know, we can talk. You and I can talk for hours if we really wanted to, and I figure it's just one of those things where we might as well just fucking record what we're talking and,
absolutely,
roll with it, man. I think we have a lot to talk about, a lot of good info, a lot of good insight, different ideas, and, that other people might not have. So, I'm excited to just kind of, one, talk about that type of stuff, and then just, get some of the guests on and really like, dig deep into what's going on with them, and just have fun, like I said.
Yeah. I feel like we live in such a cool age. I know a lot of people don't like it, but with the age of social media, like, there's just so many kick-ass, cool, badass people that I just want to know. There's just so many people that pop up on my Instagram, Facebook, wherever there is, that they're just cool people. You start following them and you see their journey, and there's just so many cool people to talk to and to get different perspectives and different views from everybody. So that's what I would love for us to get out of this, is just, not only us, but obviously to all the listeners, is to just get all these cool people on here that we could learn something from or hear a cool story from, whether it's, athletes, bodybuilders, entrepreneurs, business owners, I don't know, military people, just anybody that's cool, that's got a story. Like, we want to get it out there. Not only do we want to educate our audience, but we also want to entertain them with just cool people. There's so many people that we can get in touch with through the world of social media. So that's definitely something you guys should be looking forward to. We're going to be getting as many cool people on here as we can. We have a huge roster on the Conaway Labs team, and there's some cool dudes on there. Not only dudes, cool girls as well. There's cool people. So definitely looking forward for you guys to kind of get to know the inside and outs of not only ourselves, but all these other cool people. And hopefully we can educate a little bit as well from, previous experience, disclaimer, we're not doctors. Okay. Let's just start off with that. Let's get that out there. We're definitely not doctors. So, but yeah, most definitely. So that's kind of where we are going to be heading with the podcast. So already have a few guests lined up. So make sure you stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, because there'll be cool content coming out constantly. We're going to be knocking these out as much as we can. And hopefully you guys will like it.
Yeah. Yep. Should be fun, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Very excited.
All right. So to kick the things off, how about we start getting to know you a little bit? I know a lot of people know us as just, bodybuilders per se from, what we display the most, but, who's Isaac? What does he do? How did he come here? How did he pop into this beautiful world?
Yeah. Well, I was born in 19. No, I'm just playing. I started late, man. I started bodybuilding, 32, 36 now. And I'm a late bloomer, I guess you could say, in bodybuilding. But I probably hit it when I was in my prime. I'm still in my prime. I feel I'm still in my prime. But I fell in love with bodybuilding like at 32. 30 years old, I kind of, fell off the face of the earth for a little while and, had to reevaluate my life as I was in the hospital one day. And it kind of changed everything for me, had a different perspective on life. And, things just kind of started rolling from there. I started doing my dieting and, all types of shit. I just got into I was always into lifting, ever since I was, in my 20s and even in my teens. I lifted weights heavy. But I didn't fall in love with it like that, training like as a bodybuilder till I was about 32. And then from there, just kind of escalated from there for myself, and just kind of.
How old are you now? 36?
36. Yeah. So, like I said, I've been competing competitively for 4 years now. And, every year just I get better and I fall in love with it more and more and more. And, it's no longer just bodybuilding for me now. It is part of my life now. I've completely switched jobs. I was part of the power company back home in Chicago I worked for them for almost 14 years, since I was about 22, so 21. And, I just decided to make the change one day. And, I looked at the wife and I said, man, let's do a fresh start and get the hell out of Illinois. And, obviously Marsell's the one that told me, about beautiful Arizona. And we went and checked it out in 2019, my wife's first bodybuilding show out in Mesa. And we fell in love with it. So the following year, during COVID, all that shit, I came down, looked at a house, found this massive garage attached to a little bitty house, and decided I wanted to make this a living and bring my little 2-car garage gym over to this place and, start up business, open up shop. And hey, here I am,
And just so you guys know, he made it sound like this was some kind of a process, but let me break it down. It was not a process. Okay. What happened is literally he sent me a text message saying, hey, can I come out for the weekend so I can maybe look at a few houses? And I was like, sure, why not? My show just got canceled too because it was COVID was just hitting. So it was all these cancellations and lockdowns were happening. Thankfully, Arizona was still kind of open. So he flew down. We saw, I think, 1 or 2 houses before this one that he bought. Yeah. And literally that day, he saw that house. And I jokingly said, I was like, oh, just sign the paperwork on this one. And I'm pretty sure that night you made the offer on the house. And then the next day you were the owner of the house. So that's the type of person this guy is. He made it sound like this was a process. It was not. It was not a process. It was literally 2 months later, I was flying down there to help him drive down with all of his crap. And, here we are. What is it? It's been over a year, right?
Year in a few months now.
Yeah, year in a few months. And, here he is in Arizona, few blocks down from me.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, it's just crazy. So it's not a process.
I'm very spur of the moment type of guy. So
for sure, very spur.
When I want something, it's like, all right, let's get it done. Let's go do it. You know,
is that something that kind of has been a trend in your life where it's like, you want something, you're like, you know, fuck this, I'm not gonna spend too much time overthinking it. Let's just go for it. Is that the type of person you've always been?
Oh yeah, 100%. My whole life. I get that from my dad, man. My dad's been like that forever. When he wants something, he goes and gets it, buys it, whatever it is, that he just does it. You know, and that's just kind of how I was raised. That same way seeing my dad do it always looked so cool that he had that ability to just go do whatever the fuck he wanted to do when he said he was going to do it. I thought that was cool, you know? So that kind of just, I don't know, went with me as I got older. And the same thing, you know, my wife thinks I'm fucking crazy, but, you know.
Well, she's not wrong
about the house. Loves the house. So obviously I did the right thing here. It's, you know.
Hey, I'm not going to lie. She's got a lot of trust in you because she didn't even see the house. Just so you guys know, she didn't see the house. She was just like, okay, I trust you. The first time she saw the house in person was they were moving in. Yeah. That's it.
I FaceTimed her. She saw the house through FaceTime.
FaceTime, right? No, because you know, FaceTime tells the whole story. But no, it was a gorgeous house. You can say no to it.
No.
That being said, I know you mentioned earlier that what got you into bodybuilding or not necessarily bodybuilding, but just into a better lifestyle. You said you ended up in the hospital for a little bit. Can you kind of touch on that? What happened there?
So 2016, I was hospitalized with an atrial flutter in the heart and also severe pneumonia. I don't know. I think I got the pneumonia first, and I think the atrial flutter, along with like the stress that was going on in my life, came from. I mean, I got the pneumonia first, but then the atrial flutter came from all that. You know, like I was so stressed that it was just something that happened, and I just woke up one day and I didn't feel right. You know, and I went to take a shower, go to work, and I coughed up blood, and I was like, okay, that's not right. You know,
I don't think so.
I had a heart rate monitor and ended up, looking at my heart rate, just so I happened to look at it, and it was 155 beats per minute. And I'm like, whoa, that's probably off, you know? So I checked it about 3-4 times and it wouldn't move. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, all right, probably need to go get this checked. So I drove myself to the hospital. Sure enough, I had this atrial flutter and they couldn't bring it down. So they had to pretty much shock me, stop my heart, restart me again, bring me back to life. That put my heart back in the normal rhythm. So then I was in the hospital after that for another, 12 days? So 13 days total, you know, because the pneumonia was so severe. It was like fungal is what they said it was. You know, it was so long ago. But anyways, it was bad. They tried every antibiotic they could for the longest, and they just couldn't get it to go away. And it took forever. Finally, it went away. And I lost probably 40 pounds, 45 pounds in there. You know, a lot of water weight. So
yeah,
it was pretty
so cool. Let's back up a little bit. So where were you at in your life before that? Before you ended up in the hospital? Yeah, like what were you doing? I know you were working for ComEd, correct? So you were working for the electrical company.
Yeah. Well, okay. So leading up to that point is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Well, what? Obviously, that was the result.
I was going through a lot of stress. My wife and I we had just split up. You know, we were going through a hard time in our life, and we had been together. We got married in 2012 and got together in 2007. So we've been together for a while, you know. And we just had our second kid, and we were going through a bunch of shit. You know, it was a lot of stress, and we just weren't seeing eye to eye anymore, you know. And I was going one way, she was going the other way, and one thing led to another. You know, we decided to split up. So, I was going through a lot of stress at the time. Like I said, we were dealing with all this shit, you know, back and forth, bickering, battling, and all this stuff that you go through when you split up like that. So that kind of was part of I wouldn't say all the reason, that I was went to the hospital, but it definitely attributed to it.
Okay. So, and when you ended up in the hospital, here, I'm gonna pull up one of the pictures off of your Instagram because this is absolutely nuts. Let's see. So here on the left, let's see. Let's try that again. All right, boom. Oh, this is crazy. Every time I look at it, it's almost unbelievable. So the guy on the left is that the guy we're talking about right now?
Yeah, it's very unhealthy, I think, right there.
Yeah. So that's the guy that ended up in the hospital, correct?
That's the guy. Yep, all 320 pounds of him.
All right. So that's the guy that ended up in the hospital. Now, so let's back up even a little bit further. Before that guy, let's talk high school. I believe you were an athlete, right? Before that, you weren't always out of shape.
No, I was.
You were the total opposite, right?
Very handsome and in shape, actually. No, I was an athlete. Yeah, I played baseball my whole life, man, since I was 7. And I got a college scholarship and all that stuff, and baseball was life for the longest. And then once I went to college, my freshman year, I kind of put on some weight, around that time, and then got together with my wife, and I was still kind of in shape even with the wife, when we first got together. But it was like right when the first kid came along.
Yeah,
in 2013, that's when I kind of like started to just, I don't know, I was working so much, man. I didn't make time for the gym. I didn't make time for a diet, nothing. I didn't care. I just wanted to drink, eat shit, sleep, and just go to work. That was it. I didn't care about nothing else, Yeah. So it was a shitty life to live. It really was,
Most definitely. So after that, you ended up in the hospital. You lost some weight. Obviously, you didn't turn into, what you are at now.
No.
And that's kind of where it took you, kind of like that was your rock bottom where you were like, okay, I really got to change something. Because otherwise I'm not going to make it much further than that.
Oh, right. That's what scared me. I kept thinking about not being there for my kids, as I got further along and deeper into this shit. And I just was like, I got to change this, man. Cause this, right here, that scared the shit out of me. And, like you're in a hospital for 13 days and you're up in cardiology with people that are fucking 30 years older than me. I'm and over, so it scares the hell out of you because you see all these older people and you're the only young one in there. You're like, okay, that's an issue,
Oh, most definitely. And
so definitely scared me, man. Scared me straight. And just at the time, the person I was with at that time was also into bodybuilding too. So like I said, my wife and I weren't together. We hadn't been together for a little while at that point. And
right.
That person kind of introduced me into bodybuilding. And, man, I just kind of took it and ran with it from there. I fell in love with like nutrition, and I fell in love with training, and I just was like, man, this is something I like to do. And I just made it a part of my daily life after that. Nothing was different after that. Just stayed the same and nothing changed after that from here on out.
So you made obviously made a complete 360 in your life. You started, following nutrition, taking it seriously. And then correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm gonna pull up another picture. So this 2017 picture. So we're talking the Isaac on the left one more time. Is that kind of, your your first weight loss type of deal?
Yeah, it was like my like, I guess you could say official starting point,
Yeah.
That was that was about the time I met my coach or our coach, Mike Lacombe. And I was like, I think those were my first check-in pictures. I'm not sure. Something like that.
Yeah.
Very first check-in pictures to him. And I was gonna start doing my first prep for a show because I said, I was like, hey, I might as well just be a bodybuilder because this is what I do day in, day out anyways, and
people a lot of the time, right? Like when you hear, oh, I'm a bodybuilding this, you don't necessarily have to be a competitor to be a bodybuilder. Like you can live the life.
Right.
You know, you can live the life of training, you know, eating correctly and,
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
eat, sleep, and, you know, breathe bodybuilding, but you're just not a competitor. You just haven't competed.
Yeah, but I was so competitive by nature
Right.
that it just made sense for me to compete. You know.
Right. It gave you that drive. It gave you that fire to keep pushing
Yeah,
because
yeah. It was
let's say,
something that was like, okay, I had stopped playing baseball at that point, you know, because it was too much of a beating on my body, and I was like, well, what can I do that I'm already doing and try to make this, you know, competitive? I'm like, well, it's fucking bodybuilding because I'm already lifting weights and I'm dieting, so I might as well just get my ass up on stage and do this shit.
absolutely.
You know? And
So,
then yeah, that's kind of where it went from there. But I didn't finish that prep. That prep, I ended up dropping out of that prep due to the person I was with at the time. We started going through some shit, you know. It was like I said, it was a lot of stress, man. And finally, you know, like I had to drop out of the prep because it just was bad timing.
so here's
And
the big,
that kind of led me into, you know, the end of 2017 going into 2018. My wife and I decided to kind of, you know, talk things out, and we just got back together. And from there, just her and I just fell in love with bodybuilding together, you know, and being together in that aspect, you know, husband and wife. So, you know, it was fun. And we just went from there. We just blew up from there, her and I.
yeah. So all things, you know, fast forward 4 years. Now
Yeah,
we're talking Isaac 2021 version right in front of us.
yep,
So
for sure.
where's this Isaac now? We're like good in a good headspace, exactly where you want to be.
Yeah,
What are you
you know,
doing? What's the future holding for you? You know what I mean? Like, what are your plans? Where is this all leading to?
and you know, like right now, like things are going better. Things are going better. I was going through some, like I talked to you about it a while back. I was going through some tough times through like, you know, I just got done my show at the end of July.
Yes.
And, you know, for the first time ever, like I went through like some post show depression.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that was rough. It was a rough, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks of going through that shit. And I didn't know how to like handle it because I'd never been depressed. I didn't even know what
Absolutely.
being depressed felt like. You know, I thought I did until I felt this. So I was in a real bad funk, you know, and, you know, like I said, I started the business and personal training at the gyms at the house. Obviously, we train there. I train clients there, and you know, online training and all that coaching and stuff. You know, and a few other things. But yeah, like going through that, I was just kind of like in a funk, man. I didn't know what to do anymore. I was just like, you know, thinking like, okay, is this what I want to keep doing? You know, it was just a lot of bad thoughts going through your head, and it was tough. So
Why do you think? Why do you think? Because like, here's the thing. That was the first time I've seen you go through something like that. Like,
mhm.
I've gone through those head battles. Almost, I would say pretty much every prep I've done coming out of it, there has been
Yeah,
some sort of like hard repercussion where it
right.
comes to like my mental being just your body changing. You're not looking that way, like fighting yourself of I gotta get better and put on muscle and you know all these, especially the first few times, like all these food urges because this is like the first time you've pretty much depleted yourself to nothing, you know, and you haven't enjoyed yourself in so long per se.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
you know, so for me, pretty much every single prep I've done, every time I come out of it, I've dealt with that.
Yeah,
And I've seen you go through, you know, multiple preps prior to this, you know, because we've been in touch for a while. And
yeah,
I've never seen you go through that. Like you've always seemed to be the guy that's like mid off season, let me take off my shirt, no fucks given. What I look like, this is what it is. And you always kind of just showed everything, you know, how it is. And I
yeah,
always kind of almost looked up to that because I've always had a problem with that. Like to
right.
me, it was always like I've always felt like I had this like pressure on my shoulders to always look a certain way or be a certain way. You know,
Yeah.
and that's the first time I've seen you kind of go through that and mention some of those things. So why do you think that is? Like what changed this time around? Do you think that you actually went there?
I mean, one, obviously, I think it had definitely attributed by like how hard I pushed during this prep. You know, I went this time being my first time on national stage, I did the 2021 USA Championships, and I wanted to make sure that I was conditioned. I didn't care about anything else. I didn't care about size, nothing. So I pushed extremely hard to get to that conditioning. And I mean, I don't even know what body fat percentage I was, but it was pretty low. And
let me tell you, it was low.
Yeah, so I think that had to do a lot with it, about how hard I pushed, my hormones being all jacked up, after the show, coming off everything, it was just, I never experienced that because I don't think I ever really pushed that hard, I mean, I've gotten in shape, but like not like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's in shape. So if you guys are looking at the screen right now, that's Hugh. Looks like physique update, less than 22 hours. So that's 22 hours out from USA's, and yeah, let's say you were pretty peeled and dry at that point. So
yeah, no, I was definitely proud of that. I'm not gonna lie, I was very proud of that look. Even though it wasn't like I looked kind of not stringy, but I just looked not full on stage, which was whatever. It is what it is. It's part of the game. You learn, you live and learn. And
absolutely,
yeah, coming out of the show, like I'll say, I was so depleted and trying to bounce back. I wasn't used to that, and normally, man, like my old job would kind of would save me from worrying about how I looked. I never really cared because I would always go back to my my regular 9-to-5 job and at the power company and put on big old baggy clothes, and nobody gave a fuck about if my face was puffy or if I was in shape. They didn't care. Everybody just wanted me to eat with them, and this time it wasn't like that because obviously I work from home now and I'm on social media a lot more, and people see me regularly, so it kind of played with my head this time, and I wasn't used to that, and really just threw me off because I'm trying to like, for the first time I caught myself trying to like hold that leanness and that look, you know what I'm talking about, and
absolutely, yeah.
Trying to keep the death face, but the death face just ain't there. It's turning into fucking moon face real quick, and you're like, fuck, here we go. I'm losing it already. And I'm like, you tell yourself as you're coming out of the show, you're like, I'm going to do it right this time. I'm going to do it right. I'm going to stay lean as best as I can. And we're going to grow and not get fat. And it was just in the back of my head. I just wasn't used to that at all. And like I said, it's the first time it just kind of hit me all at once. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to handle it. It was so fucking new to me. It just threw me off. And it was tough, because my wife's in prep. So, that made things difficult because normally her and I would just go, we'll go eat. Yeah,
you'd go enjoy yourself, obviously. Yeah, it's like you.
Right. And it wasn't the case this time because she was in prep. And I mean, it really, if I look at it now, it actually helped me, But it was so mentally tough because it was like, it almost felt like she didn't want to go with me and, help me and like be with me to go eat this food. And because I'm an emotional eater,
Oh, yeah.
That's just part of me. So, and that really messed me up, man. But I bounced back, man. Finally, like, thankfully, man, like I was talking to people, I talked to you, I talked to a bunch of people on the phone. I talked to Mike,
right.
And my wife, my wife got me through a lot to the end. Finally, I was like, okay, I got my head out of my ass. Finally just said, okay, enough of this shit. I think everything started to kind of calm down. My blood levels and everything kind of started to regulate itself. And my body started to regulate itself. And I felt better. I was still dealing with digestion issues coming out of the show. So, it just, I didn't feel good at all. I didn't feel like I looked good. Even though I looked fine. In my mind, I looked like shit. And I was just, it messed me up, man. So, definitely some new shit for me, for sure.
Well, and on top of that, for a lot of people who haven't been through this, just so you guys know what we're talking about. So post show, after you get to the leanest you've ever been, your body has a tendency to pretty much like anything you eat post show is going to blow you up. So you kind of get like this balloonish look. You've got a lot of water retention in you. And it's just, it's not a good look. It's very hard for you to come off a show and not have a little bit of it. Unless obviously you're going into the next show. But when your season is over and like, this is it, like, okay, I'm going into my improvement season or off season, whatever you want to call it. There's also a lot of hormonal stuff that will affect the way you think post show.
Yep.
It will mess your brain up, and you're gonna get into these funks, and you're coming off from like the best way I can explain it, you're coming off from like the highest high. Like you've worked your ass off for 4 months, 5 months, whatever it is. Like you literally put your life on hold for that long to get to your best look ever. And then all of a sudden you get out of the show and you just like see that slowly start diminishing. It starts diminishing. And then you hear a comment from somebody like, oh, you're getting big, something like that, where like a few weeks. And then like, for me, that's like a trigger. To me, that would always trigger like, and then I would go to like this weird place where I would be like trying to like now get back that stage look that I had before, instead of just focusing on what I'm supposed to, which is like post show, like your main focus should be like, let's get healthy. Let's make sure that everything's good. Let's let our bodies come down, rest, recover, recuperate, because you just beat the shit out of yourself for 4 months.
Right.
So
that's the hardest thing though. That's the first time I've ever done like a recovery like phase coming out of a show, and that was fucking hard because like you go from training like 6 days a week to bringing your training down to like 3 to 4, and you don't really have much strength. You shouldn't be going to failure on most sets, so you're having to like back off your normal way of training, so you don't feel like you're getting much out of this. Like every workout is not great. It doesn't feel great. You get some good pumps, don't get me wrong, but like you just don't feel like you're doing anything.
You don't feel like yourself, right? And then you throw like the excess calories in there from like the food that you've added or whatever, if you enjoyed yourself a little bit. And all of a sudden I feel like that kind of like creates this recipe for disaster where you go from feeling amazing, like you just accomplished this thing, to like all of a sudden you're like just feeling, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the best way I can explain myself post show is like, you're like that you're not working hard enough right now, that like you don't look good, that you're lazy because you're not doing 2 hours of cardio a day.
Time's ticking, like you're losing days.
Exactly. And then you're like, oh, well, I gotta put on this muscle, but then you're like, then I gotta stay lean, and it's like a day to day, like your mind changes. One day you wake up, you're like, fuck it, let's go, I'm getting big today, like this is it, let's start our off season. And then the next morning you wake up, you're like, fuck, I'm fat, like let's cut all the carbs out and do 2 hours of cardio. So it's like it's such a whirlwind of emotions post show, and I feel like not a lot of people talk about that, but like for me, every single one so far has been that almost. This one was not as bad as most of the other ones. I think the way kind of like my season ended off and left off, I think that it kind of put me in the right mindset of like, hey, you just got your ass handed to you a few times. Like you clearly need to get better. That's just so I think that was the easiest one for me to be like, okay, all right, you really do have to take the time to get better now, because you've been doing nothing but competing for the past fucking years nonstop. Like it is time for you to do that. You got your ass handed to you, not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row now. Like, okay,
we set up a nice plan for you. We talked about it, what you should do,
right?
And we went over it, and I think that helped you a lot. Just kind of laying out like an off-season plan for you and having some type of like because for you, what I noticed, you need to have a plan laid out. Like you're at your best when you have structure, everything lined up, and you know what to do when you're going into it. That's when you operate at your best, and that's what we did. Well, that's what you did, but we talked about it, and you had all your ducks lined up in the pond, and you're ready to roll. So you know what to do, and it was nothing. Normally you go into the off season, you're like, you're kind of in limbo, you don't know if you're healthy, you got to get this checked out, you're like fucking stressing. It was different this time.
And I think also for me, like the team and the support system I have around me now is like way different than I've ever had before. Like totally way different. Like most of the time, ever since I started competing, it's been like 4 walls and me, and like that's it. Like it was just me, myself, and bodybuilding. The people I necessarily had around me, they were not very supportive of what I did. So clearly, like that just brought on a lot more stress than there should have been when it comes to this. But you know, now after like everything's kind of like lining up the way it's supposed to, it's a lot different, man. Like support system, and people say like, I know we're talking bodybuilding, but like people say that's like an individual sport. Some people don't even call it a sport, but whatever. It's an individual activity. Just so people don't shit on me. It's not, man. Let me tell you, it's not. If you try doing it by yourself,
I mean,
recipe for disaster, dude.
You can, but I feel like if you do have a good support system, you'll be that much better off, you know?
Yeah, a good support and just like a good group of people around you that can kind of suck you back to like reality at a lot of times. Cause like some of the times, like when you're digging deep in prep, like, man, you don't even know half the things that you're like, you don't even realize the things that you're doing half the time, or and like the effect of your actions that like are having around the people around you, or just the way you behave, the way you act. Like you don't want to do that. Like that's not necessarily you, but you have no control of it. You don't see it yourself. You just can't recognize it to fix it by yourself. So like if you fall into that whirlwind and you don't have people around you to be like, hey, like we got to figure this out. Something's not right here. Like you got to pull this back, tone it down, or, you know, you're not being yourself right now, or, you know, you're freaking out over nothing, you know, stuff like that is definitely, you know, something that is overlooked in the sport a lot.
I agree.
A lot. So, you know, when things start lining up properly, I think, you know, people will have a better time doing this. And, you know, having somebody at home that understands what you do, you know, and then finally figuring out how to like put everything together, like put together being, you know, a good partner, put together being a good friend, put together being good at your job, put together being a good coach while you're competing, putting together being a good dad while you're competing. I feel like once you kind of figure all those things out, like there's a time and a place and a way to do everything. Like, I feel like that's when it really starts clicking. And, you know, that's some of the things that so many people struggle with and try to figure out. Cause man, I've struggled it for so long. I mean, still struggle with it, but it's definitely like on its way up, like surrounding yourself with the right people that you can look up to and like, that you can like kind of pick their brains is like, it's crucial. It's something that's
definitely this year, this version of you compared to last year's version going into off season, 100% different, man. Like, you know, almost a 180 really, you know, like from what you did last year and how your headspace was coming out of prep, you know, going into off season. You know, it was just night and day because now, you know, you can see you're a lot more calm. You know, you're you know, enjoying yourself in your own skin, which I could never tell that you were, you know, never seemed to like enjoy yourself. And, you know, now it's a lot different. You know, you can see it, you're loving training again. And it's not just it's not a fucking job to you. You know, you actually go in and train, you know?
Yeah. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, like I feel like I brought myself back to like what got you into this at first place. Like you love to train. You love to see where you could push your body. So why not keep it there, you know? And then
I think that, you know, what helped too was we created that environment here, you know, by building the gym.
Yeah.
You know, here in the garage and, you know, laying the gym out the way we wanted to and, you know, adding the pieces we wanted to. I think that makes a big difference because now you go into a place that it's yours, you know, and it's like, you know, you go into this atmosphere that you know you have all control over, you know, and it's like a lot different compared to like maybe your years past where you always had to go to another gym and you know, just you by yourself. You weren't training with anybody, you know.
Yeah, now it's kind of like we have our own sanctuary. It's like this is where you come to work, and we don't go there for anything else other than like what we're there for. Like we're there to train, and there's no distractions from that. Like it's just us in the gym there, and there's no other people. There's no people talking to you. Your clients aren't coming up to you and, you know, BSing with you for 20 minutes, in between your sets. So having something like that is crucial. So, we have the perfect environment now for that. And that's kind of allowed me to almost take a step back and kind of relax when it comes to, because before it used to be like, for me, like every competition, it was just like a race to get on stage the next time. Like, it was just like, I felt like there was not enough time. Like I gotta race to the next time I step on stage. It was just like race from one to the next and to the next and to the next. And it was like nonstop. And I've never allowed myself the time to like step back and get better and actually enjoy the process and enjoy it for a little bit. Like, it was just always like, go, 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 go. I got to do this show. I got to do that show. It's like, I always felt like I was running out of time. Oh, I got to get this pro card and I got to do this. And, always thinking of a million other things rather than just the one thing that I should have been thinking about, which is how do I get better and how do I do what I love without fucking stressing out every single day about it,
Sure.
So just being able to slow things down, put yourself in the right environment, like, man, there's something to be definitely said about that, where, surrounding yourself in the right environment with the right people is going to get you places. It's just like they say, like, make sure that the circle that you surround yourself with is what you want to be. Because, if you surround yourself with a lot of people that you don't want to end up like, you're probably going to end up like them.
Yep.
That's just one of those things that I definitely took some time. Definitely took some time to learn and apply. And it's still a learning process every day. Like, I still don't know shit. I'm still young, I'm still going to make tons of mistakes. I'm still going to fuck up a million things, whether it's in here or in business or at home or whatever it is, but the good thing is you just got to remember those things, learn from them, keep going and keep improving.
I'm still fucking up and I'm getting close to 40 and learning. We got plenty more years of fucking up to do.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's inevitable.
You're closer to 40 than you are to 30.
Yeah, right.
At what point does it start getting depressing? Because I'm not there yet, but at what point does it start getting to you?
I don't know. I think whenever my body just starts to look like a melted candle, no matter whether I'm trying or not, I think that's when I'm just like, okay, this kind of sucks now.
Oh, the good old.
So far, the candle's fine.
No, I feel like you're improving as you're getting older.
Yeah, man. I'm hitting my prime, bro. What you talking about?
No, you are, dude. You're one of the strongest dudes I know. Just so you guys know that dude is strong as a horse.
I'm gonna be the next fucking. I'm gonna be the Puerto Rican Dexter Jackson.
The Puerto Rican Dexter Jackson.
Yep. You can call me the Switchblade.
The Switchblade. Oh man, see, you still got a hairline though, so that's good. That's good.
Dude,
Dexter's left a while ago, but I mean, mine is going. It's going, man. It's going. Every day, it's getting deeper. Yeah. Every haircut I get, like, I'm like, fuck, there's less hair on me. Every single one, I swear to God now, every time. If there's anything I'm worried about is this, but.
Well, for me, it just depends on what I'm taking at the moment. Whatever I'm on kind of dictates whether my hair is going to do or not. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you right now. There's certain things I can take, and I'll start fucking getting little fucking bald spots right here, and I feel my hair fucking coming out when I'm washing my hair, and then I come off the shit, and my hair's fine. It grows back.
See, that's the fucking thing. Mine doesn't. And you know me, I've tried everything. I'm like Rogaine, DHT blockers, like Finastride, like I pulled out the whole artillery, and it's going, whatever.
I got some blessed hair genetics, so
the good thing is I'm already married, so whatever it is. If we have to take this whole thing off, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine rocking a bald head one day, man.
I don't know, man. Trust me, like there was a few times where somebody shaved my head accidentally, aka my brother, and and it was not a pretty sight, man. It was not a pretty sight. I got like molds and folds right here. Like it's no, it's not a good look. Not a good look whatsoever.
You can always get your hairline and all that shit tattooed, you know?
Yeah, you could. My mom does permanent makeup. I should just ask her to just fix my hairline a little bit. It's not bad, but when I look down like this, like,
don't do that. Don't do that.
It's becoming an island. Just don't look at the top of my head.
Yeah, don't do that. You got the whole fucking the toilet bowl rolling there.
Condemn's got to come up with some fucking stellar hats the next year or two here, because that's what my future is holding for me. It's fucking hat central all day, every day.
Huh? And both my grandpas had full fucking head of hair. I think my one grandpa had a fucking afro when he died. So I'm good.
You'll be good.
I'm good.
Oh. All right. So, speaking of that, there's a few questions that people shot me over. I got a bunch. I know you got a few too. Before we get out of here, we'll answer a few questions.
Yeah, first of all, everybody that sent us questions, thank you. We appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, you guys rock. And all you motherfuckers that didn't send us shit, right?
Yeah, all the ones that didn't, I hope a bird shits in your breakfast. Right?
Yeah, right into your fucking Cheerios.
Yeah, no, we're just playing. But I'm not playing for real. For being the first podcast, man, like we're just starting off. Like we actually got a good amount of questions, and that was really cool, man. It was appreciated a lot. So I just want to give a shout out to everybody that sent in some questions and DM'd me, put stuff on our post. That was really cool. So
yeah, there was some good questions too. It wasn't just like the typical bodybuilding stuff, bodybuilding stuff that we get, because I feel like a lot of people already know that, like about our bodybuilding stuff. So but there is a few good ones. There's actually, speaking of that, I know something that we touched on, like why we got into it, and like how we have like problems with that post show stuff and just like not feeling yourself. One of the questions that I got is like, do you think that all bodybuilders start off because of some sort of trauma or an event that made himself like feel less than what they are? Like, do you think that all bodybuilders stem from that? Because like just talking to a lot of like, I mean, obviously we know tons of people in bodybuilding, but like most of them have some kind of a story that put them there, like where they felt better about themselves and they found the gym, and that's where it kind of stemmed from. Where, from what I've seen, I would see a pretty damn good amount. Like I know myself personally, like that's 100% where it stemmed from. For me, it was just a pretty simple, I started working, got out of shape, and my girlfriend at the time cheated on me with her yoga instructor. And that was kind of like what just like, for me, that was it. It was like, that's it. I felt terrible about myself. So my initial push to the gym was that, like me feeling like complete crap about myself. Like, oh, my girlfriend went to sleep with the yoga instructor. Like I must not be good enough, or I don't feel good. And so for me personally, you're like, I think that there's, for a lot of people, like you can't do this religiously like we do without something setting that off in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Maybe some people do, few. Obviously there's some that like wanted to be bodybuilders their whole life, but like, I don't think that's the case for most of us. I think it's set off somewhere in the back of our head. Like some kind of event did it, where we're like, we fell in love with the gym and just torturing ourselves 24/7.
Yeah, no, I think, for me, it was, like I touched on earlier, the chain of events that happened to me. And it just kind of, it was something that just, I don't know, suited my life at the time then, and I just kind of rolled with it because it was, to me, it was the best option out of the other options I had, the healthiest one, even though, people would say it's not healthy, depending on what you're doing. But it, to me, it was the way that was going to keep me, focused, straight on path, and obviously I was competitive, so that just went hand in hand, and it
Yeah.
just worked for me. So that was it.
But do you think, like, outside of you, like, do you think that it's possible, you know, I'm not talking about like the anomalies who are like just like grew up and like watch bodybuilding and like I want to be a bodybuilder my whole life, because I honestly don't think there's a lot of those. I really don't. Do you think that for most of us it's some kind of event like that set it off? Like, do you think that without something like that, people would be able to just be like, oh, let me torture myself, let me just stick to a strict diet 365 days a year and let me train like that?
No, I don't think so at all, man.
Right?
I mean,
You think there's some kind of seed that needs to be there to like take you there.
I think, like, okay, so me personally, like myself, I grew up very structured as far as sports was concerned, you know? So the structure of bodybuilding was something that just fit. It worked for me, and it was a challenge, you know? And I enjoyed the challenge, and I wanted, obviously I wanted to try it, but just the structure of it, man, was really what kind of like just stuck to me, because as a kid, I was drilled, for baseball, like over and over. I practice, like on my own with my dad, make my mom take me to the batting cages type shit all summer, all year long, basically. So it just, like I said, it was a structure for me. It just lit a fire in me, and I loved it. Like I fucking craved that shit.
Okay. So actually, that could lead into one of the other questions that we had. So you already kind of answered this. So were you guys always into sports? What other sports do you enjoy? Are you planning on participating in any other sports when you're done competing? No, nothing else for you?
After competing?
Yeah.
After I'm done with bodybuilding?
Is there something you miss? Like, do you miss baseball? Like, would you want to be like, oh, I would play in a baseball beer league or something like that?
Oh, no, man. My body can't take that shit no more.
Really?
No, I don't think so, man. I love baseball, but it's just, the type of like pain I get from playing baseball, running and sprinting from, base to base, or taking swings over, swings on hundreds of swings at a time on my wrists. It's too much, man. It's just, I'm beat up from that shit, I got a lot of injuries from past injuries, but I think something that I would still love to do, and that's a passion of mine, is like drag racing, I've always been into drag racing since I was a kid. My dad grew up drag racing, so that would be something that I would actually like to pick back up. But with drag racing, that's money. So you gotta have the money.
Money. All right, so
bodybuilding money goes away, or then that'll just go into drag racing.
All right, so fuck the next question. Now we got onto this. What car are you drag racing?
What car would I be drag racing?
Yeah.
I don't know what car I would get, at this time. I don't know. I mean, I've always been into imports my whole life, but now that I'm getting older, and I'm more mature, it'd be some type of, V8 at this point,
because I'm going I'm going with the 350. Oh yeah, Shelby 350 all day.
Oh,
Shelby,
yeah.
5.2 Shelby 350. It's like 540 horsepower out of the box with no charger or anything like that. Throw a supercharger on that. That's it. That's my dream whip right now. A 350 Shelby. I'll take that all day. I'll be drag racing that and driving it on the daily.
Yeah. See, for me, I would just like to drag race my daily driver. And for me, I just want a Durango Hellcat. That's it. So I can put the family in. We can go to the drag strip, and I can kick everybody's ass in the family car, and we just drive back in the same fucking car.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Most definitely. Definitely that would be a cool one to have too. But I'm still going with my 350 Shelby. It's just something about one of those that
put the whole family in, fucking go grocery shopping.
Bro, let's go.
It's still what most people's ass out on the fucking street. You know?
For sure.
Something to be said about something you daily drive, and you can fit your whole family in. You can beat most cars.
Yeah, that's like if I had to do that, I would go with like a Cadillac CTSV. That's like the ultimate sleeper. Like, it looks nice, it looks luxurious. It's like, oh, Cadillac. It's probably like, this guy probably needs a walker when he fucking gets his groceries done. Nope, no sir, we just got a Corvette engine in there. Anyway, all right, we're gonna be done boring people with car talk. Back to me. What sports was I into? So I always played sports all year, nonstop. Like that's all I knew throughout middle school and high school. I wrestled, did gymnastics, played hockey, and that was and played football. So that was like majority of mine. I do miss playing hockey, so that I think like if I'm retired and I definitely like take off a lot of weight and get nimble and flexible again, like I would totally go back to doing that. But that's only if my body allows it, because obviously it's just a different world. And something I'm definitely planning on doing once I retire from bodybuilding is jiu-jitsu, man. That's just something I want to do, like apart from just weight training, to kind of keep me in shape. And I miss wrestling. Like wrestling was always fun. That like one-on-one competition with yourself, like how good can you get type of deal. So that's definitely something that I would go into. What else we got next here? What shows are you guys planning on competing in next? 3, 2, 1,
go. Masters USA 2022. So I think it'll be next December. I think. So
yeah,
that's it. That's what I'm going for. I got a 12-month off season, so and then another 24 week prep probably for that.
See, I'm trying to approach it differently than I usually do, like without having a sight set on a show per se. I kind of do have one set, but I told myself I'm only going to do it if we decide that this one's going to be it type of deal. Like you're ready to go and do this. And that's in all aspects, not only body wise. And I'm thinking about doing USA's next year. Especially if they do it in Phoenix.
Yeah,
definitely gonna push for that one. It's a no-brainer for me. Yeah. So I think that's going to be my next one. But who the heck knows? Who knows? Who knows how my health aligns? Who knows how everything else aligns? All the stars have to align this time. I'm not forcing anything. Usually I force everything. I'm not forcing shit. I'm just going with the flow.
Good.
What do you got question-wise? Hit me.
Oh man, so this is from our boy Tommy T Styles 2 on Instagram. What would you guys like to achieve with this podcast? What's the mission? So I think we kind of touched on that at the beginning of the show, but we can kind of, go over it again.
Bottom line for me is like, I just want to connect with as many badass, cool people as I possibly can. Like I said, we live in a cool world of social media where like you can get a hold of anybody and everybody. And I would just love to have a sit down and have like an actual conversation with somebody about what they do and how they do it, and just kind of pick their brain. Like there's so many cool people in the world. And I feel like there's just so much we can pick up from outside of our knowledge, like outside of our area of expertise. Like I just feel like
genre.
Yeah, right. Like what we do is just like a small niche, right? Like, but there's so many other cool people in the world that we can learn from, So that's kind of the big thing that I would like to, you just get all these cool people out there,
Definitely. Yep. I agree. That's pretty much the same for me.
Yeah. That's a good one. All right, next.
Let's see. This one's from Solis Lifts, our boy Angel. He said, yeah, he said short and long-term goals in bodybuilding. Good one. I'll go first.
Go.
All right, short-term goals for bodybuilding. Let's see. For me, just to basically just achieve the best physique I can in this, this amount of time. It's for me, it's about getting my name out there, getting exposed, learning as much as possible, and really just trying to establish myself, right now.
Yeah.
Long-term goal, obviously long-term goal would be obviously to attain a pro card sometime, in the future. When that is, I don't know, but that's definitely the long-term goal. And also, to just be able to take what I get from bodybuilding and grow with that into like some, business-wise and, with the family, man, too, especially with the kids and stuff like that. I love that they're involved in it. My wife's involved in it. So,
yeah,
it's something that us as a family, we can grow, along with, the friends around me as well, so those are the long-term goals and short-term goals.
Yeah, most definitely. For me, short-term, I have a few, I guess. It's okay. I have a very short-term goal. Okay. Very short-term goal is to be healthy. Okay. That's like my very short-term goal. I want to make sure that I'm healthy. Like my body's firing correctly. I've done stupid shit before to just like keep going. So I want to make sure that never happens again. So that's kind of like my short-term goal. Just make sure I'm totally healthy before we push on with all the other goals. Long-term goals. Well, actually, that was my super short-term goal. Now my short-term goal is to get a pro card. Okay. Now I say short-term because I mean like year or two. Like that would be ideal for me. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But that's what I like to push for. That's like I've always wanted, like in my head, like I wanted to turn pro by 30. So I got 2 years to go on that. So that's going to be my short-term. And my long-term goal is like, for me, obviously, like getting to the big dance would be like the pinnacle of it all. I think I've said that to you before. Like if I was to just touch the Olympia stage, like I would happily retire. So obviously step on a pro stage and qualify for the O. That's like my long-term goal. With that being said, like for some reason, I've always thought I'm going to be like in the back of my head, like I have this feeling that I'm going to end up being a better coach than I am a bodybuilder. That's just, I don't know. That's kind of like the inkling that I have. So like, if that doesn't happen and I could just like excel in coaching and be able to be the best coach I possibly can and, stay around the sport, like that would be cream of the crop. Like if I could just do that and be able to be around the sport, that would be awesome for me. So that would be my long-term goals, either step on a O stage or just be a badass coach.
Yeah. Good one. Good. Let's see what else I got. I got another question from Ralph Jennings. I think we know him, right, on Instagram.
Oh yeah, that's the kid, right, that did really well at
Yeah, he was in
Arizona Open.
He was in the finals, at the
Arizona Open, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. He looked good.
Yeah, young kid, good quads, or good legs, I should say. His question is, some good things you see in the new upcoming generation of bodybuilders.
Would
you be considered the new upcoming generation of bodybuilders? I think so, right? I know I'm not.
Who, me?
That shit.
I don't know, man. I still consider myself nothing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like when I talk,
right. But as far as like age wise and the new generation coming up, I mean, you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
I would still say you're on the back end of new generation in my opinion.
For sure. Yeah, age wise, yeah, most definitely. Some good things that we're seeing out of the new generation. I mean, there's tons. Okay, I don't have that, like, how there's like that big stigma, old generation, new generation, old school bodybuilding, new school bodybuilding. Like, I mean, look at the game of like football. You know what I mean? Like, it just like you look at games 30 years ago. Obviously, the game evolved. Like the players of 30 years ago would not last in the league now. And I feel like that comes through every sport. Like when they're comparing like LeBron and Michael Jordan, like, yeah, man, it's a different generation. Like Michael Jordan was good then, but like, would he be good now? Who knows, man? The game has changed. The game is played differently. So I feel like that's kind of the same with bodybuilding. So like the game has evolved. It has changed. I feel like a lot of the good things that we're seeing out of like the new generation is all the opportunities that there are to make money outside of just having to be a top Olympian bodybuilder. Right. Because there's so many people that are like just coming up in the industry, but they're super successful and super financially stable off of doing just that. So that's definitely something good coming out of like the new generation, is like they're showing that like there's a way to make money in this without having to be a top Olympian to get a paycheck out of this. So I feel like that's one of the good things that's coming out of the new generation.
Yeah. I think one thing that that I can sit there and say that is probably going on with the newer generation is that they have the ability to, because of social media and the internet, the ability to learn the old way and the way that it is now, and kind of take the two of those and
best of both worlds.
Right. And make it the best, make it either the worst or the best of both worlds. They have that, ability now because of what they have right in front of them, on the tip of their fingers.
Yeah.
They can just watch a fucking video of Ronnie Coleman, squatting 800 pounds, or, you could see Chris Bumstead, in the gym, doing a massive back day or some crazy shit, and kind of take all that and like figure out, okay, this, I want to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and, make your own, I don't know, kind of mold yourself into like this, this like, old school, new school bodybuilder. I don't know.
Yeah. And the cool thing is like, you don't need to wait like a month for a bodybuilding magazine to come out to like see everybody. Right. Like it's all there. It's all out there. It's a lot more publicly known. Even then, like when I started competing, like if you're like, oh, you compete, they'll be like, in what? You compete in what? Now you're in a gym and you're like, oh, I compete, and everybody's like, oh yeah, what division? A classic.
Yeah, right. That's true.
What's your favorite pose? A side tricep or a rear double bicep? You know what I mean? Like it's just a lot more mainstream now.
Definitely. I agree on that for sure.
I like it.
Yeah. I don't know. You got more? I got more questions. If you want to throw some more out there, go ahead.
Yeah, let's go. Let's hit one more with you. I'll do one more, and then we'll quit boring people to death.
All right, I got two more. One more. I'll give you one quick one. Somebody asked me. This is a friend of mine, Alex. She said, "Intermittent fasting. Your thoughts?"
Okay, so fuck. That was not a quick one, my friend.
Okay. Me quick. All right, intermittent fasting, not for bodybuilders. Okay, for soccer moms, people just want to get in shape, want to lose weight. Cool. Take it, run with it. It's cool. But for bodybuilding purposes, not gonna work.
No. All right.
Not regularly. No, not day in, day out. No.
No. Definitely not. I like that answer. If I don't know who asked that question. I don't know if they're a bodybuilder, if they're like
no, my buddy Rigo, his wife.
His wife. Okay. Yeah. So all right, to answer your question, what's her name? So I feel like I'm not talking to Alex.
Yeah.
All right. So Alex, okay, if you're having trouble staying away from the bad foods, the yummy foods, okay, if you're having trouble with scheduling your meals correctly, if you're having trouble with just staying prepared with your meals, but you do need to lose weight to get healthy and stay healthy, there's something to be said for intermittent fasting when it comes to that particular person. Because if you limit your feeding window to a certain amount of time, obviously your caloric intake will go down. Less calorie intake means, that if you are in a deficit, you will start burning fat, losing weight. So with that being said,
unless you eat like an asshole.
What's that?
Unless you eat like an asshole.
Unless you get a few hours to eat like an asshole. Right. Because if you set yourself a certain feeding time, how much bad food can you eat within like 4 to 8 hours of feeding? Not that much, right? Like, especially if you didn't eat all day. Yeah. But right, we're not talking about Isaac, right? Because 8 hours, that guy can gobble down 30,000 calories. Well, 30,000 maybe a little bit over, but I must have seen this dude eat like 10 to 15,000 calories within a few hours. I think I have. I actually, one day we should add it up. Okay. We're doing it. I'm going to give you like 5 hours. Let me see how many calories you can eat in 5 hours. Okay. All right. No, all right. How about this? If you listen to this podcast and you heard this, if you want to see Isaac do that, 5 hours. Okay. How many calories can we get in? Make sure you let me know. DM me, like it, comment it, whatever. Just let me know. Like, hell yeah, we are tuning in to see Isaac do this. We'll make a YouTube video about it. Okay. And then we'll go from there. But going back to Alex. So if you are that type of person, like you're just having trouble staying on track and staying away from bad foods, yeah, intermittent fasting can work for you. Here's the thing: as long as you're making progress, run with it. Okay.
Yep.
And if you're feeling good, run with it. But if if you feel like shit, like if you're trying to go to the gym, you're trying to train, and you're just got this low energy, you got some type of digestion issues, sometimes, because let's face it, if you're intermittent fasting, you're probably going to eat some bad food, because there's nobody that does intermittent fasting and then like feasts on just clean food. Some people do, right? But most don't. The reason why they resort to the intermittent fasting, outside of the, rejuvenating properties that it can have to your guts, blah, 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 blah. Usually people do it because they have trouble staying away from this food. So if that's you, yeah, run with it. If you're a bodybuilder, probably not a good idea.
No, not a good idea. Okay, last question I got here. It's a good one, actually. This is from Progress 388. I think his name is Bill. I think
Bill.
I think he's part of the ambassadors.
Fuck it, we're rolling with Bill. I like Bill.
Yeah. Okay, so how to get the most out of training when you train alone? How do you keep that intensity high? It's a good one.
Find a good training partner.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I could say how to get the most out of your training when you train alone. One, make sure you set yourself up to use exercises that you can safely fail on.
Yeah.
Because if you can safely fail on those, then obviously you can take that set to failure. And obviously we know that that's how we get the most out of our training, is taking 3 to 4 sets out of your whole session to failure. So definitely that's one way to get the most out of your training when you're training alone. Pick exercises that you can fucking safely get out of and not hurt yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
And how to keep that intensity high. That's just something, man, that you got to fucking come up with, man. Dig down deep. That's something you got to fucking develop and tell yourself that, you're not going to be a pussy when the fucking sets start getting hard and shit starts to burn, and you got to act like there's a fucking either a gun to your head or a gun to your kid's head, and somebody's going to pull that trigger if you don't get fucking 3-4 reps out of that last set, That's
I think to piggyback off of that, like with the intensity part, I think there's a very simple tool that you can use for the intensity part as well, and that's going to be a logbook. I feel like that can definitely keep that intensity high, because technically, if you set up your program correctly, you are aiming to beat your last log in some way, shape, or form, whether that's better reps, more weight, more reps, better control of the weight, better form, but that's like
less rest. Yeah.
Less rest. So you are looking to beat that in one of the aspects. So that's a good way to kind of gauge your intensity level. Obviously, if it starts dropping off, you got to figure out why, or whether you're not getting enough rest, or you're not recovering it correctly, or you're not eating right, or whatever it is. But technically, if you are on a proper training schedule, those numbers should be heading up. Now, they're not gonna, you're not gonna destroy all of your numbers all the time every week, but you should be seeing some sort of progress. So a logbook is definitely something that that I would implement to keep that intensity. As well as going into each session with a goal, right? If you're training, let's say your back, right? Like you're like, my back is weak. Like my goal is to improve, the form of my lifts today, or today is a good day to beat my PR. Like go with some type of a goal already in your head. Like this is what I'm going to try to work on today. Make like notes in your logbook of how the last training session went. Kind of like, I struggled on the form on this. So that way, that this time, hey, I'm going to make sure that this is impeccable. Like have a goal with everything that you go into for each training session. Like my goal today is to get better at this, and kind of run with it and see where that goes. And as far as the training partner thing, I don't think any, I honestly truly think there's not much that can replace a quality training partner. I really don't think there is. It's hard, man. It's hard to train by yourself at the most optimal level. But if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. And just pick the right exercises that like get you going. Pick
Yeah.
something that's gonna like fire you up. Like, I'm in to do this shit. Let's go. That could be another tip.
I made some of my best gains, man, training by myself back in 2019. But I think it was because I was still, my body was still like so
Newbie gains.
new, you know, I guess
Yeah.
you could say that. Like it was still, right, new gains were
Yeah.
coming, you know, and I made so much progress, but because one, I was training harder and a lot more intense, you know, but yeah, I just had a bunch of muscle to still add on. I mean, I still do, obviously, but it comes a lot harder now. It's not as easy.
Yeah.
You know, so,
And
as a newbie like coming out, or somebody that's, you know, still just getting into it, you can get a lot out of training alone. You just need to set yourself up the right way and have a good
get a coach. Get somebody to program it for you. So like there is some kind of a goal. Somebody's checking in on you. You have somebody, like, if you can't have that training partner there in person, at least have it virtually. You know what I mean? Like, get feedback from a coach, you know, record your sets or whatever. So like you could go back and forth with your coach on how you're doing. And that will give you, you know, an initiative to do better and be better because somebody's checking up on you. Like, you know?
Yeah. Right. For sure.
Cool. I got a good one that I skipped, which is kind of gonna bounce back. What are some of the most common misconceptions that people have about you?
About me?
Yeah. What are some of the most common misconceptions about us?
Oh, well, probably that I'm a fucking meathead, for one. Definitely not that. I mean, I can portray that for sure, but probably that I'm also mean. People most likely always think that I'm a very mean person because of how I look, I guess. I don't know. I look intense and I talk intense, so people assume that I'm just a mean ass person, but I'm really not. You know? I can be, but for the most part, I'm not. You know.
Yeah. No, he
gotta be the most common
can be a dick. I've seen him be a dick.
Yeah, for sure.
Can be. Yeah. For me, when I used to train at the public gym, a lot of my clients that came from there, they would always say like, "Oh, well, we thought you were mean, so like we were kind of scared to talk to you." And I was like, "Really? Me? Like anybody that knows me, I'm like the fucking, you know, 150, 180 degrees away from that. Like, I'm nothing when it comes to me." So I don't know if it's like just the intensity that you're training with, or if like, well, I guess in prep we can't look like we're too nice to talk to. That's for sure. But outside of that, I don't know. No, I feel like that I don't look mean. I don't think I do. And then another misconception is that a big one. There's a few big ones, but the biggest one is definitely the dumb meathead thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get that shit all the time. Like, people will ask a question and I'm like, "Oh, what do you know?" Like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of
assume we don't know shit or we're not educated and shit.
Yeah, where they don't realize how much education we have done to like know a fucking 1/1,000,000th of what's out there and this stuff, you know. So that kind of grinds my gears sometimes. It does. I don't like when people think I'm dumb. I don't know. Maybe I am dumb, but I just don't like when people think it. Makes sense if you don't think about it.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe.
And then I got a last one. Why do you guys gotta go so deep with this shit? God. How do you manage family life and what the hell? Sorry, I can't read. How do you manage family life as well as being an athlete, especially in the world of bodybuilding and fitness?
How do I manage family life, especially?
As well as especially.
What's the rest of it?
How do you manage family life and being an athlete, especially in the life of bodybuilding and fitness?
I mean, it's really it's really hard to juggle the two. I'm not gonna lie. There's no real balance in it, you know. And yeah, I guess you're just managing it, you know. When it's your time to prep, you're the athlete, you know, and you try to do what you can with your family. But for the most part, as long as you have a good support system at home, you know, they understand like what's going on and what that entails, and they'll let you, be your best. When you're outside of prep, that's when you know, become the family man and enjoy life and kind of slow down a little bit and, you know, take a few steps back from bodybuilding sometimes.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's tough to juggle the both, you know, and that's why I'm grateful that my wife is involved in it, you know, because if she wasn't, it'd be a lot harder. She wouldn't be as understanding, you know, so yeah. That's a tough one.
Most definitely. For me, like it's also like either one way or the other. The good thing is now when I'm in prep, it's like Michelle just kind of knows how to handle it. She she knows that I might not be the most energetic and social husband at home, you know, and I'm not going to be doing, you know, as much stuff with her and Taylor. But I do my best at that point. But then when I get out of prep, I obviously try to make up for it. It kind of sounds dumb, making up for it, but you know, that's the game we play, unfortunately. That's the game we play. All right, anywho, I got to catch a flight, so we've bored you guys for long enough, and we appreciate you guys tuning in, listening. Make sure you subscribe to the Condemn Labs channel on YouTube. We're going to get these up on Spotify. We're going to get them up on iTunes. So anywhere you listen to your podcast, that'll be up there. So make sure you check us out. Send us some DMs. Let me know what you guys think, comments, whatever. Let us know what you guys want to hear about, talk about. I know there's a few questions I didn't touch on. It was more of like, you know, more detailed food and training and gear questions, which is kind of, we didn't want to touch on that on the first one, but we'll answer those. I promise you we'll answer those when the time comes at the right times. You know, so we're looking forward to talking to all the cool people. Give us feedback. And anything else you want to add?
No, subscribe, like, comment, and share. Those 4.
Yes, the magical 4. You can find us on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
Iconic_iron.
Iconic_iron. I'm at Marsell Zaborek, and then you got at Condemn Labs. So make sure you follow all those things. Other than that, we'll talk to you guys next week, but we'll probably have a guest on next time. So
we will have a guest on next time.
We will have a guest on next time. So look forward to that. Also, let us know who you'd like to see on here. If you know anybody that's cool, badass, cool stuff, let us know. Let us know who you want to hear on here. We'll do our best to get as many people on here as we can. So send us some cool.
Quick one. Where can you tell everybody where they can find the podcast at?
Where can they find the podcast?
Aside from the YouTube page.
YouTube page. So type in Condemn Labs. You type in Condemn Labs, you'll find the Condemn Labs channel, and you'll be able to view all of the podcasts there, as well as Spotify, iTunes. Just type in Sentence to Greatness podcast, and that will pop up. And I will throw some links on there as soon as I have them. So I'll throw some links somewhere in the comments, whichever platform you're listening at. I'll make it accessible. And if you have trouble finding it, DM us. We'll point you in the right direction. We'll make sure it's not hard to find. How about that? We'll do our best to make sure it's not hard to find. Cool?
Cool. Yes, sir.
Peace. We're out.
Take it easy.